So what's going on, people? Let me go ahead and warn you, I'm tired. I am tired. I am tired. I am tired. Well, this is the life of a hard, dedicated teacher as myself. So let's get to it. Let's review as my clothes in the dryer stop. And so let me pause the video so I can handle that. All right, so I'm back. Clothes are out of the dryer. All right, new clothes are in. Zero product property says, I don't know who was absent, but I'm just going to briefly go over this. You can skip to this part. Honestly, if you remember this part, I'll just skip to this. I'm just doing this for whoever was absent. If A times B equals 0, what am I on? Oh, this is lava. Y'all like lava? Okay, great. Then A has to be 0, or B has to be 0, or both A and B have to be 0. So basically, you can't multiply two factors or two numbers or two anything together and get 0 without one of them being 0. That's just what the rule is saying. And so we then went on and saw some examples. 3 times 0 is 0. Therefore, 3 had to be 3, but 0 had to be 0. One of them had to be 0 in order to multiply 0 times whatever this is. Even though I do 2 minus 2, it's going to be 0. But again, 0 times whatever this is, it's still going to give me 0. 0 times 0.25 equals 0. So this would be my A. This would be my B. This would be my A. This would be my B. Ooh, I feel like this is a song. This is be my A. This will be my B. All right, so pretty much that's what it is. It says, in each case, at least one of the factors is 0. These examples refer to the zero product property. All right, let me lift my tone of my voice. And so we went through some of the examples, and you can get those to somebody else. I don't think I assigned in any of the classes the last one, so I'm just going to do the last one together. These are already factored. So there's two types of problems. There's the problems that were already factored, where this is your A and this is your B. And basically you're saying A times B gives me 0. So one of these have to be 0. In order to figure out what one has to be 0, you use the zero product property. You set both of these equal to 0 and you solve. And we are finding the roots. Roots are the numbers that make these this equation 0. That is what the roots are. Roots and solutions are very similar, but we are finding the roots. All right, so here, I'll do this one right here. And so this is going to be my A, and this is all of this right here is going to be my B. So if A times B is equal to 0, then one of these have to be 0. So we have to find out the roots that makes this equation 0. So A either has to be 0, is the first equation, or B has to be 0, which is the second equation. All right, so we go through and we solve. -5, divide by -5 on both sides, we get F to be 0. We subtract 3, and we get 2F is equal to -3. Divide by 2, divide by 2. F is equal to a -3/2. And this is where life is going to get a little interesting for some of us, because what's going to be inside here is not going to be just by simple math. We can figure out what it is. We're going to have to actually solve the problems to figure out what it is. All right, so F is equal to 0. There are some shortcuts that I'll show you later, but now I really want to concentrate on the math. All right, lift your voice, Mr. O'Neill. You sound boring. All right, so these are the roots. So we did put this in roster form. Roster form puts them as -3/2, and then 0 as the form. This is roster form. So both forms you need to know. All right, so you must factor these. These are the type 2 problems. You must factor these. So I think in every class we did the top row, at least some from the top row, and then the bottom I'm going to do because I need to remind y'all how to factor. Okay, so again, this is a trinomial, which means that this factors into a binomial. So let me do one of these. So in order to use, let me do this one. So in order to use the zero product property, you must say A times B is equal to 0. Well, first of all, the equation must be equal to 0 in order to find the roots, because the roots are the numbers that make the equation 0. So first of all, we have to make this equation equal to 0 by adding 3b to both sides. Okay, that's the first thing we have to do. So we end up getting b squared plus 3b is equal to 0, because that cancels out. And then the next thing, let me go get this. Video is going to be long. Ooh, I just realized I'm 5 minutes in. Y'all Whew, it's gonna be long, long, long. So people that came to class today, I guess you watched the tail end of the video because I'm pretty sure I'm not gonna finish this lesson since we're gonna grade the conceptual quiz. All right. Okay, so then now we can use the zero product property, but we don't have it in the form of a times b. How do we get that? We factor. So this can becomes the form of a times b. So we factor out a b, and we end up with b plus 3 is now b times b plus 3 is equal to 0. Now we can use the zero product property. So now we can say either a, this is our a has to be 0. This is our b, or b has to be 0. Okay, and now we solve. Well, that's that. Subtract 3 from both sides. B is negative 3. Okay, so now roster form, usually the smaller numbers first. And we're done. Okay, down here. Ooh, this video is going to be long. All right, so again, if y'all use the x and all the other stuff, but factors of 3 that add to give you negative 4. I know Ahmad was talking about butterfly. We butterfly when this value is not 1. We don't need the butterfly right now. Okay, so we set up our parentheses for our binomial. So we have x here and x here. And now we are saying that this is positive, so therefore the sign is going to be the same. And then we have a negative 3 and a positive 1 is equal to 0. Please don't forget that. So this is my a. This is my a. So x minus 3 has to be 0. And this is my b, or x minus 1 has to be 0. And soon, very soon, I'm going to let you do mental math after you learn the math behind this first. Add 1 to both sides, we get x is equal to 1, right? So, I don't want to say solutions. I want to say solutions, but even though I can't say solutions. But the roots, that's the word we're going to learn today. The roots are 1 and 3. Because when we put 1 back into the problem, we will get 0. 1 squared minus 4 times 1. So that's really 1 minus 4, which is negative 3, plus 3 is equal to 0. 3 squared, which is 9. 9 minus 12, which is negative 3, is plus 3, is equal to 0. All right. Come over here. We factored this. So we say R. That plus sign says we have the same sign. Don't forget you're equal to 0. So plus, and so that has to be 9 and 1, because 9 times 1 gives me 9, and 9 plus 1 gives me 10. So R plus 9 equal to 0. R plus 1 equal to 0. And we solve. Subtract 9 from both sides. R is equal to negative 9. Subtract 1 from both sides. We get R is equal to negative 1. Okay? And then we come over here. Well, we don't have this equal to 0, so we have to put it equal to 0 in order to use the zero product property rule, or whatever. Okay, so we need to subtract 24 from both sides. Subtract 24 from both sides. Now we have me running out of room. W squared minus 2w minus 24 is equal to 0. My little slate is amazing. Look how neat this is. I tell you, boy, technology is making life wonderful. All right, so I set up my W's. I know I'm gonna have a different sign. I know the sign of the larger number is going to be negative. So 24 breaks down into 6 and 4. So I know that's going to be negative 6. It's going to be positive 4 is equal to 0. Why is this thing doing this? This dryer is acting crazy. I'm going to use mental math. Yay. W is equal to 6. I don't feel like doing all of this. It's going to make the video really long. All right. Yeah, when I use mental math, you can use mental math. So roster form. I didn't use the roster form over here. So negative 9, negative 1. These are our roots. Roster form. 4 and 6 are our roots. Yay. All right, so this is something that you need to remember. We never want our first term to be negative, because it just complicates things. We just never want whatever with this, with our squared or our a, to be a negative 1. We just don't want it to be a negative 1. We don't ever want to be negative anyway. So we're going to move everything over here. So I'm going to subtract an from both sides. And because I'm running out of room, I can't do it. And I'm going to add 15. I'm doing that to both sides. So now this looks like n squared minus 8n plus 15 is equal to what? 0. Okay? And so we're asking, what does n have to be in order to give us a 0? Because that would be the roots. All right. So I know I have an n here and I have an n here, and we know it's going to be equal to 0. And let me go get this dryer again. Maybe I'll add off extra credit or something one day and be like, what was messing up in the video? And of course the answer will be the dryer. You know, the dryer, if you put the drum roll on, our drum roll is broken. So yeah, so whatever. All right, so +5. So I know that we're going to have different, well, the same sign. This means have the same sign. And so the only thing that gives me 8 is 3 and 5. All right, and mental math this time. N equals 3, n equals 5. Roster form 3, 5. All right, now let's move on. So here, Ahmad is your favorite. This is where we would use our slide and divide. But you don't like slide and divide, Ahmad. You like butterfly. So you use butterfly. Sometimes I wish I never taught y'all slide and divide because y'all forget to divide. GCF, can we pull out a GCF? Nope, 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 nope. There's no term. So I'm gonna use a slide and divide in the middle, and I'm gonna use grouping. Y'all can do whatever y'all want to do. All right, so grouping says that we multiply this, not grouping, butterfly method. I almost forgot the butterfly method. So the butterfly method, say, hey, multiply those two together and you get a negative 30x squared. Oh my gosh. Handwriting's gotten uglier. All right, because that looks a mess. Let me erase that. So multiply these together and you get negative 30. Oh, hold up. Where you at? 30. Shoot. All right, so let's get this negative 30 right. So we get negative 30x squared. And, you know, a lot of teachers in high school use slide and divide too, so whatever, I guess it's fine. All right, so we bring you down. We get 6x. What are you doing? What are you doing? Stop acting weird. 6x squared, and this breaks down, and we want positive 13, so that has to be a 15x. I feel weird using this now, and because I rarely use it. And then minus 2x, and then bring down to negative 5. Because 15x and 2x makes 13x, and then 15 times negative 2 gives me negative 30. All right, and then we factor out a GCF, which would be 3x. I'm slow in using this method because I rarely use it. 2x plus 5. And over here, we're going to factor out a negative 1. So we end up with 2x plus 5. And we end up with 3x minus 1 times 2x plus 5 is equal to 0. All right, so I'm going to teach y'all the shortcut coming up real soon. So we have 3x minus 1 equals 0, and then 2x plus 5 equals 0. And because that's A and that's B, add 1, we get 3x is equal to 1, divide by 3, x is equal to 1/3. And then come over here, subtract 5. Then we get 2x is equal to negative 5, divide by 2, x is equal to negative 5/2. All right, so what do y'all see? So if you know you set this equal to 0, this is my little shortcut, then you know that you're going to have to move that over here, and then you're going to have to divide by that. So it's going to be the opposite of this sign divided by that. The opposite of this sign divided by that. We're doing that really every time. So that can be your shortcut, y'all. The opposite of this sign divided by that is going to be your root. The opposite of this sign divided by this will be your root. Okay? You can remember that, or you don't have to. All right, and so our roster form is negative 5/2, 1/3. You know, I'll show y'all these little shortcuts in your life if you use them right. All right, let's do slide and divide. So move you over there. X squared minus 14x plus 24 is equal to 0. All right, so we get x, and then we get x is equal to 0. This says it's going to be the same sign. Subtract, subtract. All right, factors of 24. That's going to add to give you 14. All right, that has to be 12 and 2. So 12 and 2, and I slid an 8. So I must divide by 8. All right, so I'm going to simplify this to be x minus, both of these can be divided by 4, so 4/3. Both of these can be divided by 2, so 1/4 is equal to 0. All right, and now I have 3x. Now notice, y'all gonna notice something. Like, why am I taking it back? Because you just need to still see this. 3x minus 4 times 4x minus 1 is equal to 0. These are the factors, A and B. Opposite of u will be 4 divided by u would be 3. Opposite of u would be 1 divided by 4 will be 1/4. And so the smaller one is first, which would be 1/4, 4/3. All right, so people that use slide and divide, y'all see this? You see this right here? You see this? So if you use slide and divide, your answer is the opposite of this. Ha. If you use slide and divide, your answer is the opposite of this. If you simplify, if you don't simplify, your life is going to be over. I guess I can't unteach slide and divide. All right, the last one, we use Abad's favorite and Lydia's favorite, butterfly method. So we use the butterfly method. We say, hey, you come over here, and we write you as a -40. Oh my gosh. All right, and we get -40r squared. Bring down this 2r squared. This comes out, all right, -40 would be 8 and 5, because that gives you 3. So the 8 has to be positive. 5 has to be negative. And then bring down my -20. All right, what can we take out of you? We can take you a 2r out, and we end up with r plus 4. We can take out a -5 and end up with r plus 4. And now we have 2r minus 5 times r plus 4 is equal to 0. A and B, buddy. A and B. Let's use a little shortcut, people. Opposite of u, r is equal to 5 divided by u, halves. And then opposite of u really is -4 divided by u, which is 1. So that's why it's the same thing, y'all. All right, and I know, y'all, I'm not as enthusiastic. I'm sorry. It is currently 10:20, and I got to get up tomorrow. Y'all didn't even know I'm leaving early tomorrow, don't even know that. I got to pack. I'm going out of town and haven't even packed yet. Had to do grad school work tonight. Oh, the life of your teacher. You wonder why I get mad when y'all don't perform or do your homework, and I'm up here staying up. You talking about y'all got a life to live. Boy, please. Y'all ain't got no bills to pay. I know y'all got issues and got problems and you got work to do, but trust and believe I'm grinding just like you. You're welcome. All right, let's pep it up, Mr. O'Neill. It says, find the value of x as it relates to each rectangle or triangle. Each rectangle or triangle. All right, so again, I had a conversation with my wonderful son, my fake son, Latrell, this morning about these problems. So the area of a rectangle would be the length times the width. You need to know that. So area, or I'm going to write it like this because this is the way I'm going to write it. The length times the width will give me my area. So what do I have to do? My length times my width gives me my area, but I'm gonna write it like this: x times x plus 2 gives me my area of 15. Okay, so some people be like, well, Mr. O'Neill, that's A and B. Well, A and B only work when this is equal to 0, right? So I need to turn this into a trinomial and then factor. Okay, so I can't come over here and do x. Well, I can do this. I can do this. I just want y'all to see it. So I can have my x times x plus 2 and subtract 15 from both sides is equal to 0. But that ain't going to help me because that's still not in the form of a times b. Okay, we want a times b to be 0. Write that down. We want a times b to be 0. So we need to, well, it's not really full. Distribute this out. We get x squared. I think I might need some room. Put it over here. X squared plus 2x now minus 15 is equal to 0. Now we can be like, well, I can put it in this form now because I can factor this. So we have x equal to 0. All right, so negative 15. So we have x and x. Factors of negative 15 will be 3 and 5, but one has to be positive, one has to be negative. The highest one, absolute value of the one has to be positive, so whatever. Okay, and then we get x plus 5 and x minus 3, and then we get x to be negative 5, and then x to be a positive 3. Now, y'all, like shooting the ball, the roots, okay? Now the zeros. One of these do not make sense. That's why we did the conceptual lesson. I really need y'all to understand that though this works in this problem, it will satisfy the equation. Negative 5, when you multiply it out, it will give you, watch this, negative 5 times, well, if we do negative 5 times 2, well, plus 2, which gives you a negative 3. And so a negative 3 times a negative 5 will give you 15, y'all. And then 3 plus 2, which is 5. 3 times 5 will give you 15. But in the context of the problem, it will not work. All right? I need y'all to understand that. I feel my help. In the context of the problem, it will not work. Okay? So this is a negative 5. We don't have a negative side. So you don't work. You fit the math, but you don't fit the context. What did I just say? You fit the math, but you don't fit the context. All right? So x has to be 3. All right, you're going to do this one on your own. I'm not even, oh, these numbers are large. See, I'm going to get mad because it's 408. Oh, gosh. Some of y'all going to get really mad because you're going to be like, what factors is 408? But, okay, let me start you off. Oh, Jesus, you're going to be really mad at me. So we know that x times 3x minus 2 is equal to 408. Why are you giving such big numbers? All right, because I wanted you to strive to be the best that you can be. And then we know that eventually we're going to have to get 3x squared minus 2x. And then we're going to subtract this 408 from both sides is equal to 0. You know what, y'all? I know. 4a is a large number, and you got to go through these and figure out what two numbers that's going to multiply. And then if you slide and divide, that number even gets larger, and there's nothing you can, take out of here. So I'm gonna let y'all use the internet on that one, because this video is gonna be really long. So when you slide and divide, find out factors or whatever, and then you'll find out which one is -2. Go ahead. I'll let you use the internet. Well, I don't have to move this down. Use the internet on that one. But if you do it on your own, hey, that's perseverance. All right, so the area of a triangle is base times height divided by 2. Right. So we take the base, which is x, times my height, which is x plus 1, and divide it by 2. And that will give me my area of 36. So we distribute, and we get x squared plus x divided by 2 is equal to 36. And now we need to multiply both sides by 2, right? Right. And so 2 gets off the bottom. We get x squared plus x is equal to 36 times 2 is 72. All right. And now we need to subtract 72 from both sides. And we get x squared plus x minus 72 is equal to 0. And now factors of 72 that give me 1. Well, 8 and 9 do that. And that sign says there are two different signs. So one we're adding, one we're subtracting is equal to 0. And now we know the 8 has to be the smaller number, the 9 has to be the larger number. And so we know that the roots would be a -9 and a +8. But only one work for the context of the situation. So we know -9 does not work. X has to be 8. Duh. All right, so you're going to do this one on your own. I'm not even going to set it up for you. Yes, that's 600. Yes, that's 600. Oh yes it is. Oh yes it is. Oh yes it is. And it might become 1200 when you have to multiply by 2, but you might have a GCF. Go ahead and work that out. Let's get to these word problems. Oh, I believe in you. Yeah, it was a I believe in you. The volume of the storage tub, shaped like a rectangular prism, is 24 feet cubed. The height of the tub is 3 feet, the width, W, feet, and the length, W plus 2 feet. Use the formula V is equal to length times width times height to find the value of W. All right, so length, what did they say the length was? All right, they say the height is 3, the width is W, and the length is W plus 2. I'm going to write this in a way so I like to see it. So I would prefer to see 3 times W plus 2. Length times width times height. Length, width, height. And that's going to give me the volume of 24. Well, will you look? What do you think we got to do here? Well, first of all, this doesn't help us because we can't use the zero product property because it's not in the form. It's not equal to 0. So let's do what we've been doing. Distribute 3W squared plus 6W is equal to 24. What do we think you have to do now? We got to subtract this 24 from both sides. I feel my help. And we get 3W squared plus 6W minus 24 is equal to 0. Are there any GCFs? Well, I know 3 goes into 24. I know 3 goes into 6. Well, I got to factor out a GCF because that's what I ask myself every time if I see this number not being 1. So we end up factoring out a 3, and we get W squared plus 2W minus 8 is equal to 0. Do we just slide and divide or butterfly a mod? No, we don't. Because negative 8 will give me 4 and 2. W plus one of these, W minus one of these is equal to 0. So now we have, the larger has to be positive. And now we're going to use Mr. O'Neill's shortcut after these notes. You can start using shortcut after you show these notes, Preston. I mean this work, Preston. You use a shortcut at the end. You be getting on my nerves. So we get W is equal to negative 4. And then W is equal to 2. Well, this is a real life situation, so we can't say the width can be a negative 4. That's a lie. The width has to be 2. All right. The area of a parking lot is 2,475 feet square. The rectangular parking lot has dimensions such that the length is 10 feet longer than the width. What is the dimensions of the parking lot? What are? I was about to say what is. That don't even sound right because it's not. It's not grammatically correct, even though it's 10:31 at night. All right. So the area of a parking lot is shaped like it's a rectangle, everybody. And it says that the length is 10 feet longer than the width. So the length is the width plus 10. And the width is simply W. And now we know that W, length times width, is going to give me 2,475. Guess who's going to leave this problem up to you? Well, you have access to the internet. I mean, you won't have access to the internet for your test. But the thing about your test won't have these large numbers on it. You know, in reality, I wouldn't expect y'all to go through this. I'm not trying to teach y'all perseverance anymore. I'm just trying to teach some of y'all to do your homework. I can call out some names. All them passes I gave out yesterday. Sadness of my soul. These kids get on my nerves. Ooh, we got this problem. It's going to set y'all up for the future. I can't wait till y'all get to y'all word problems of next week, I think. The length of Charlotte, North Carolina Conservatory Garden is 20 yards greater than its width. The area is 300 square yards. What are the dimensions? All right, so the garden. We have a garden right here. And we know that The garden is 20 yards greater. What is this? The length. The length is 20 yards greater than its width. The length is 20 yards greater than its width. The area is 300 yards. What will you look at here? Are you telling me that the length times the, I don't want to do that first. The width times the length is going to give me the area? Is that what you're saying? Are you saying that this problem is easier because when you multiply these out, there's nothing with your A is going to be 1? Are you telling me you, Mr. O'Neil, wants me to do this and finish this on my own? You're absolutely correct. All right, now let's deal with this last problem in the last probably like 5 minutes because it's going to take us a while to understand this because people don't get it. I'm going to blow it up for people like Sydney and, you know, Sophia. Sometimes she act like she like I don't like her or something, but I don't. Don't tell her that. She might be watching the video. All right, it says a rectangle with an area of 24 square inches is formed by cutting strips of equal width from a rectangular piece of paper, Mr. O'Neil. Find the dimensions of the new rectangle if the original rectangle measures 8 inches by 6 inches. So they want us to find the what? Dimensions of the new rectangle. Now this concept, everybody, you will have to know this for your test. You'll need to know it for your conceptual problems. You'll need to know it for the future. So I know that the width, a rectangle with an area of 24 inches is formed by cutting strips of equal width from a rectangle piece of paper. Find the dimensions of the new rectangle if the original measures this. So I know that the original area of this rectangle is 8 by 6, right? Okay. I know that's the original, but a rectangle with an area of 24 inches is formed by cutting. So the new area is 24. Correct. Now this is the problem that many people have. I'm going to do my best of blowing this up so y'all can see this, and then I'm going to bring it back to reality. Okay. So this is the issue, y'all, that I really need y'all to see. The new area is 24 inches. It's inches squared. That's what this represents. Oh, I need y'all to stay with me. But I am cutting this entire length. I'm going to use different colors. And this is going to take a while because conceptually y'all have to see this in order to understand this for the future. This entire side is 8 inches, right? This entire side is 6 inches, correct? I am cutting off X of each side. And I'm going to do this in black, and I rewind it many times you need to. I'm telling you, you need to understand what I'm saying. So conceptually, this 8 inches is being cut off right here. Okay? It's being cut off. And this represents X. I am cutting X off on both sides, y'all. So the 8 inches, and I'm going to color this out so you just see the yellow. So the 8 inches is now, I can't cut. I can't. How about I just move this X up so it looks like it's going to be up here. All right. So this is no longer 8 inches. It is 8 inches minus what I cut out. So this is really now to represent this length. It is 8 minus XX. Well, not XX. I shouldn't say X. Minus X, which is 8 minus 2X. Because I shouldn't say XX. So somebody just think it's X squared. Okay. Now, again, I am cutting it away from the 8. This is like the best that I have been able. You can watch it. You can see it in the video. Like, it makes sense, y'all. Like, this represents 8. The entire thing, the entire yellow represents 8. And then I'm cutting off this section and this section. So this is now, the length is now represented by 8 minus 2X. Okay? Because I'm really trying to get to this right here. to represent the area. And the same thing with the 6. This 6 side is represented by here. And I'm going to come over here and do this, so like y'all don't get confused. I know this takes a while. I need y'all to conceptually stay with me. Stay with me. Oh, wrong thing. Undo that. Shoot! What did I do? I'm sorry. Oh gosh. I might have to pause the video. I'm sorry. All right, I'm back. That was kind of funny. Okay, so I'm trying to click on the highlighter. All right, go away. Okay, so this side right here is 6 inches. It's a rectangle, y'all. But what am I doing with the 6 inches? I am cutting off. I am cutting off this section and this section of the 6 inches. So in actuality, it's going to be a little bit difficult to show this part, but hopefully y'all stay with me. I am cutting off this right here and this right here of the 6 inches. So in actuality, I'm saying cut you off and cut you off, right? Because I'm trimming this side and I'm trimming this side. All right. So now this represents the X that I'm cutting off. Put my X right here. And this side represents the X of the 6 inches I'm cutting off, because I'm trimming all around. Now, I hope y'all can see this, right? So I'm trying to get in here. The only way I can get in here is to trim off the lengthwise. I got to trim off this section and this section. So this is really 8 minus 2x. And then this is 6. This is 6, right? Because it's a rectangle. But I'm taking off this section, this x right here, and this x right here. Darken it some more so y'all can just totally see. So this really is represented by 6 minus 2x. So if I were to redraw this, which I'm going to do right here, to represent this 24 inches. Oh, this is so good. I'm glad I got technology. I've never been able to teach this like this with anybody else. All right. If I trim this off, I now have the new side. This side is 8 minus 2x. Okay. That's what this right here is. This is 8 minus 2x. The x's that I took off. This right here, the whole thing used to be 6, but I'm taking off these 2 x's right here. Bye-bye. 6 minus 2x. So now, to figure out the area, length times width. All right, I'm going to try to shrink this. Shrink you. Shrink you. Look at y'all. Look at technology. I'm telling you, it just makes your life so wonderful. I'm trying to tell y'all. Okay, I got to get you back into the problem. Oh, that's going to mess things up a little bit. Okay. I'm trying to get everything back into the video. All right, shrink you some more. All right, so that's really small. All right, I'm going to blow it up a little bit more. A little bit more. All right. Okay, so I know this is long, but y'all get the point. It's a rectangle. I think that's cut off. I don't think I can move it. But y'all get it. A rectangle with, it's on your paper, with a ring of 24. So this little, look how small it is. Oh God, trying to take me out. So the area of the entire thing is now 8 minus 2x times 6 minus 2, I'm writing too big because this is going to be a long problem, is equal to 24. That is the area of this right here, because I cut out those 2 sides. All right, now we got a full, Jesus, I only have enough room. All right, whatever. I could let y'all do this, but I'm going to start y'all off. So so we get 48, excuse me, minus 16x minus 12x sorry, plus 4x squared is equal to 24. Okay, we can combine like terms. I'm gonna write this in standard form, so I'm gonna write this as 4x squared minus, and this is 16 and 12, so that makes me 28x, and then plus 48 is equal to 24. I can't use the zero product property rule yet, so I subtract 24 from both sides, and so I am now looking at 4x squared minus 28x, and then 24 from 48 is minus 24 is equal to 0. I'm gonna give y'all the greatest hint. GCF this bad boy. Y'all see this 4 here? You know you need to ask yourself, is there a GCF? Yes, 4 can go out of all of these. This problem actually turns out to be really good. I'm just gonna finish it for your life. I've done this far. I made this video really long. It's 40 minutes. I'm sorry. There's a class period. Whatever. You learned a lot. Okay, and then we get 4 times x squared minus 7x minus 6. Is this right? Hold on. Shoot, I messed up somewhere. Hold on. I know I messed up. This is positive. I know somebody like Rio's like, that ain't negative. About to jack my life up. I was about to say, I don't come too far. I know I ain't messed up nowhere else. All right. So now we end up with 4 times x is equal to 0. All right, so this is the same sign. It's going to be minus 6, x minus 1, and then we end up with x is 6, x is 1. So what are they asking for? Because x is 6 is x is 1. So it says find the dimensions of the new rectangle if the original measures 8 inches by 6. So the dimensions of the new one. These are the dimensions. We are saying that this is the length, this is the width. Now we must check to make sure that both of these numbers will give us a realistic length and width. And this is where some of y'all get in trouble. So 8 minus 2 times x. So 8 minus 2 times 6. If I put a 6 there, that is 8 minus 12, which gives me negative 4. Is this going to work? No, it does not work. It does not work. Okay? But 1 does. 8 minus 2 is, because 2 times 1, let me put a 1 there, because somebody will be like, where you get 2 from? I am substituting this 1 back here, y'all. I am putting it back into the problem to make sure that it works and it makes sense. So 8 minus 2 times 1, 8 times 8 minus 2 is 6. Bam, there it is. And then I put the 1 here, right here, 1 goes here, and I do 6 minus 2 times 1, which is 4. All right, so what are the new dimensions? The new dimensions, y'all wait till next week until we do nothing but word problems, is 6 by 4. Now, some of y'all be like, I could have figured that out by myself, because if you take all the same length, what are you left with? You're left with a 6 by 4. Duh, Mr. O'Neil, 6 times 4 gives me 24. Why did I have to do all of that? You have to do all of that because I'm setting your life up to be easy right now, because it's going to get hard soon. It really is. It really is. And look at this beautiful math. Look how beautiful this math is. I'm telling you, I'm just leaving on a high note. It's 10:48. I'm telling you, I'm just leaving on a high note. You know why I'm leaving on a high note? Because y'all sat through this beautiful math that I supplied to your life. And this video gonna take so long to upload. You know why? Because it's 44 minutes long. This has been a Beast Mode production. I'm out, son.